everyone.
Hi,
My name is M9,
and I'm Nixie, and this
and this is Out of Character. Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 17, which I just quickly changed on the thing. I hope you didn't notice, except for me saying it. Today, we have Circus Guys, aka Josh, because there's something important that we need to talk about, right? On the show, we like to talk about everything that's RP related, and I think that this is one of those things. So, Nixie,
He went off script, so I'm
I
like
threw her
really
off. Yeah,
frazzled, but I was like, wait a second, when do I come in? Hi guys. Yeah, we're gonna talk to Circa about Arc because Arc released some information on their community crunch that was quite interesting.
quite
And,
interesting.
I say quite interesting because I'm gonna be the one who's really rude about this, so we're gonna let them say the nice things first.
Yeah, we basically have Josh here. As some of you or many of you might know, Josh has been running Arc servers for a long time, and this is actually how we met. And this, affects him, such as it affects the community. And we wanted a conversation with people with different perspectives, and I think that that's where we come in here. I didn't read as much as they did about it, but we're gonna have this conversation
As
anyway.
usual.
So, Josh, again, thanks for coming on the show.
Yes, thank you.
It was great to have you on last time, and I'm hoping that we have a good conversation again this time. So, to get started, how did you feel? Just quickly summarize. How did you feel about this announcement?
Right. So initially, I was pretty disappointed. No denying that. But I also realized that I misread it a little bit.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, with some clarification, it's not as bad as it comes off.
And I feel like you're not
Rough.
alone on that, right? I think a couple of people jumped to conclusions, and
Yeah, 100%.
I think it
I
was
will
just the
say
way that it was
there were
portrayed.
points that after having read it and then reread it, I thought there's definitely a big thing about it that I read that I was like confused about, and then I reread it again and went, okay, but it's still not great.
So I guess for the people like me that didn't read this article, Nixie, just a brief summary of what it is that Wildcard announced, and then we'll get into kind of the nitty gritty on how we feel about it and how this might affect the role playing community.
All right, so I have it up here, so I'm going to be kind of going through step by step because it is kind of long. It's not too long, but basically what the big announcement at the very top was that they are pushing Arc 2 back to the end of 2024, which I believe it was supposed to come out this year. I don't remember the original play come out that.
Yeah.
But they did push it to the end of next year, which was a big thing.
Yeah.
But then they also decided at the same time as this, at the same time of announcing Arc 2 was going away for a little while, they're going to release Arc 1.5, which is Arc Survival Ascended, which is a mixture of Arc 1 and with aspects of Arc 2 that they are playtesting, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
To put it, basically they're using elements that they're utilizing in Arc 2 into the Arc 1 space, but they're not compatible in the end, if I understand, at a price point of $50. They're have a whole bunch of features that they announced that they want to try and fit into it, as well as how they're going to go forward with DLC and what they're doing with the end of Arc now that Arc is basically going to be over as they go into Arc 1.5.
Right, because servers are getting shut down.
No, the official servers. Are being
Official
shut down.
servers, yeah.
Only the official ones. Unofficial and servers that people run are still fine. but the official servers that Arc puts together and people can play on are being shut down. But the big thing is Arc 2 is going to Unreal Engine 5. And with what they're wanting to do, it can't be added to Arc.
Right.
So they're making Arc 2, but they're going to be utilizing aspects of Arc 2 into what Arc Survival Ascended.
Yeah, and I'm guessing that's the best way for them to do that, you know, with like assets and things that they've already made for the game. Might as well. Josh, so like with all that said, right? Arc 1, I'm kind of betting it's going to be 2025 at this point, if we know wildcard. And with that, I can't help but to be excited in one way because, you know, Arc has been a big part of our community, and it's been a big part of, you know, role playing, and a lot of the people that we know today we met through Arc and some of the, you know, the servers that you hosted and others. But I can't, even though I'm excited about moving forward to what, you know, Arc 1.5 or Ascended, I'm a little apprehensive, and I don't know how you feel about it, but it's I don't know how to feel about it quite yet. So you tell me.
So on face value, it feels shitty, right? You're told all of this ends in August, which isn't even that long away, for 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you get to the nitty gritty of it, it's not as terrible. Having to rebuy the expansion packs is probably the most scummy aspect of it.
That's the part that really got me.
If you even have a right to feel like it's scummy. Because let's be honest, how many games have you bought the remastered version of, right?
Yeah, I bought Skyrim six
happens.
times already.
It happens. And if you really think about it, Arc in Unreal 5, with Nanite, with the technological advancements that Unreal 5 has to offer, if they do it right, that's, you know, a hopeful if, there's no reason it's not going to play amazingly. There's no reason you're not going to actually enjoy it as much as you would probably in Arc 2. Now, another thing to comment on, they give you Arc 2 with purchasing.
Right.
Yes, they do.
So you can't even be upset about that. People pre-order games for, you know, hundreds of dollars. Yeah, Arc originally was what, $20? So that $50 kind of sucks for some people, sure, but
$20 for 2 different passes as well for the expansions.
Right.
I originally thought was all of them were going to be $20, and I went, "Whoa, hold on!" But they bundled it together in like three expansions into a $20.
And I mean, I'm also the person that was like, you made me pay for Scorched Earth. That's not the end of the world. I'm a chronic Arc player with thousands of hours. Like, the amount of money I've spent on games that I literally have less than an hour in.
Yeah.
But there are people that will argue the principle of things. They did talk about it being free. They talked about all this other shit. But the truth is, if it's their parent company, if it's even a wildcard decision, at the end of the day, they made the call, and we have a decision to make. Are you going to play, or are you not? And getting upset about it and bitching about it, like, I don't know when that became the whole culture of the internet.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever, I guess. But what does that solve? It doesn't solve anything. The truth is, people are going to play Arc again, and they're going to buy the upgrade.
Yep.
And the performance increases with base engine stuff alone. Tough shit. Get over it. The one other thing I'm really kind of sketched out about is this paying for mods. The premium mod thing makes me uncomfortable. Now, how that all works out, we'll see. I have trusted Wildcard to do pretty all right with Arc, and I can't deny that I don't love the game. You know, that would be a stupid thing to try and argue. So hopefully it goes well. Maybe it won't. Speculating for the next 4 months isn't going to solve any problem. It's just going to drive people nuts. But dynamic water, interactive foliage, the server threading and networking with Unreal 5 alone should just make it so much more enjoyable. And I mean, if you're a roleplay community, and I've talked to a lot of PlayStation 5, Xbox, Westeros RP server owners that always hit me up and like, hey, do you mind if we do this kind of stuff? What's it like with these mods? Opening up both cross-platform play for the large majority of the ARC players is going to be a benefit to most communities.
Yeah, I agree.
It is interesting that they're introducing cross-platform modding.
Yeah, this
It's
overall thing is
not-
pretty wild.
I think that
Yeah,
that's
it's not
something that
any game really does.
yeah, because how many times have we gotten people that either accidentally join the Discord or anything like that, and then they're like, "Oh, this is for PC." Well, I can't play because it does, console doesn't handle mods, and I think that it's super exciting for it to be cross-platform and to actually have mod support and everybody being able to kind of dip their feet into what we know as the RP scene on PC, because it's just not the same on console. It's more bare bone, and when we really think about it, and giving credit to the modders, they make our experiences on Arc. So
100%, yeah.
I think that right there, it's exciting. What you said and you hinted on, the premium modding thing, it's a scary thought. Not that it can't work, it's just a scary thought because there are some people out there that are very
selfish and vindictive,
Yes.
especially with the mods.
yes.
Yeah, we definitely
know-
seen that in Mark.
For the longest time, I refused to lock down any of my mods, and then ultimately with this biggest one, we did do that, but we didn't make our player base pay for it.
Right.
We just kept it to our community to test it, play test it, and then I don't know if you noticed, but we put up the Medieval Warfare mod to the whole community after a long couple of seasons with Westeros RP and all their feedback on which weapons sucked and which ones were fun and how the siege engines worked and all that jazz. So I do think there are going to be people, like if you look at the GTA 5 Tibec's shop for all their custom scripts.
Yeah.
I'm worried that the quality could be severely detrimental for all online play if what happens is all of the modders go behind a paywall to make money, which obviously everyone's trying to do a side hustle. I respect it, but you already see it with certain server owners, so there's no reason you're not going to see it with certain modders. And hopefully there's a couple of people that just stick with quality integrity and they like, hey, you want to support us, go through Patreon, but our mods are public.
Right.
Because it will definitely be detrimental to the mass of the ARC players if most of the quality mods that aren't dog shit or impactful on server performance aren't available unless you pay.
Yeah. I mean, there is room for this to be also a positive thing. And the way that I see it is, and imagine people seeing that as an incentive to get into modding Arc. I think
There is that, sure, yeah.
Yeah, I think that it could provide more content for servers. It could provide, a new generation of modders, but it's still kind of a scary thought.
Well, to be fair, Unreal 5 being built in that engine, if that's what the dev kit is upgraded to, obviously I think it has to be for Arc Ascended,
Right.
is going to open up modding in Arc to a whole new, less tech savvy opportunity in the greater scheme of things anyways, because Unreal 5 is just a more user-friendly interface. 100%. It's a more stable interface.
Yeah. I mean, and we all know how annoying the dev kit was for Arc as it was. I downloaded it once to try to get into it, and I deleted it the same day. I just couldn't. But Joe on the chat here saying, I feel like another thing with Arc mods being paid, such as, how does that work? Anyone who joins your server has to own the mod, thus less players, and kind of that's a very good point, Joe, because you are going to get that that rush of players that are the free to play players, that there's kind of a lesser quality, everybody just kind of doing it. People that have to pay usually have to think about it.
Well, the thing is also is you do have to be verified by Wildcard's people. They have a verification overview by Overwolf and Wildcard for quality control in
Mhm.
order to set those price points.
Right.
Yeah, but
Which
what the hell
means
does that mean?
it is going to be the people who have the good mods that are going to be behind that paywall.
I know. What is going to be that threshold, right? Like, as Josh just saying,
Yeah.
what does that mean? Does that mean I see that I can load up your mod and boom, you passed? Let's move it along, give it the stamp of approval? Or does that mean like, hey, your mod has a bunch of bugs, it's making other mods crash, that means you're not going to get approved? Like, what is going to be that standard set by these devs? Because if a premium mod, if that's what is being called, we are expecting to get a premium experience, right?
100%. And like I said, if you want a live playtested experience of what this is going to break down to, in my opinion, look at the GTA 5 5M modding communities.
Right.
Look at all the script shops. Look at all the premium scripts that you can subscribe to and buy and get access to. There's a severe quality difference, but it doesn't necessarily mean it makes for a better play existence for the greater community as a whole.
Exactly. Yeah.
So there's going to be servers that have money that can have some fucking insane mods, and the player base that is willing to pay for it might have an awesome experience. And there's going to be a lot of other people that don't get to enjoy that stuff.
Yeah. I right now I'm kind of thinking it in the way of I was looking at that Hogwarts multiplayer mod, and as it stands right now, everybody that wants to try it has to pay for it, and in order for anybody to try it, you have to pay for it. So is it going to be where, like what Joe was saying, does everybody have to get the mod, or is it going to be just strictly server side? Or
I don't think I think a premium mod subscription will be client side based, not
right.
server side. But I could also see Wildcard throwing out like server package.
Mm-hmm.
But in the same
Yeah.
regard, how the hell, if you have access to the files, how can you prevent other people from getting access to those files and
Yeah.
booting
Yeah.
it up in single player? So I don't know. Like I said, it's a weird, so hypothetical. We're not going to know until August.
Yeah, we won't
I
know
would say
until we
there's
know.
really not a lot of information here about what they're actually planning on doing with it, besides the fact that it's cross-platform. Like,
The fact of the matter is, if there's a chance for someone to do mod work for money, that is going to be the standard that most people take.
Yep.
yeah,
I agree. And
Which means there will be a significantly lower amount of mods available to the general populace of ARC players that move to ARC Ascended.
yeah.
which I mean, at this point, there's not going to be any support for Ark Survival Evolved, from what I can understand. Like, they're basically
Well, the unofficial servers will still provide the networks and stuff,
yeah.
right? And there's going to be those communities that stick around.
They said it's going down to basic bug fixes that are game breaking, though. There's not going to be anything extra done to the game.
Well, I'm talking about like with them shutting down official, the only servers that people are going to be able to play in ARC Original, whatever you want to call it, will be unofficial server owners, which technically have been the brunt and the bulk of the modding community anyways. You
Correct.
see like the MTG server mods, you see the Elite ARC server mods, all that shit. Like that, those guys will stick around and give the opportunity for the unofficial play. It is real weird that they're shutting down all the official servers, but in the same regard, that shit's not cheap. So
No, and we've seen this being done before with other games where
oh yeah,
it's just not worth it for them to keep servers. Like you said, it's not cheap. And honestly, let's just, even when you think about the people in our community, right? Like, how many of us complain about ARC all the time? But how many of us have thousands of hours in ARC? Like,
yeah, it's a little interesting for sure.
It's just kind of the game that we play, and no matter how much we like it or hate it, or if it's a good medium for roleplay, and it can only get better, I think, with with the new engine and better graphics, better mechanics and all this stuff. I'm for it. And as far as like the modding thing goes, I like to see it as not only a player but as an artist myself. If there's anything that I can do to like, dedicate myself to and make money out of it, I'm for it. Like, but
Oh
I
yeah.
need to make sure that it's worth it for not just me, but the community as a whole.
I will be curious to the nitty gritty details about the payment of these mods, though. I think that's a big sticking point because, as we learned from certain other people trying to control their third party content creators, it can be interesting where they go with that.
Mm-hmm.
It does say on here with a 50% of the price point going to the mod author. So it's a 50-50 split for mods if you decide to get it monetized. So it's kind of a high split.
That
for
is a high
people.
split.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I feel, like I said, I think the general populace of ARC players will have a more negative experience in trying to find mods
Mm-hmm.
than they did in the original ARC.
Yeah.
And it will be down to the developers. And I do think that the developers that don't put their shit behind paywalls but hold their mods to the same standard as premium mods should be will likely see their Patreon shit and their Discords far more supported than forcing players.
I didn't think about that, but that actually makes a lot of sense. When you think about, hey, I would have had to pay for this level of quality regardless, but since I'm not because of this developer, maybe I should throw something his way anyway, even if it's not as much. And then
Yeah.
those numbers are just going to stack.
And there's going to be developers out there that are like, oh, look at this paywall mod that's 3 things. I'm going to make that. Just like you see in the, like I said, the GTA 5 scripting. Like, that shit, it's gonna play out a very similar way to how the 5M scripting works. And, it could be good, it could be bad.
Just as a tip for people who I'm not very well versed in GTA scripting, if you wanted to go into some detail about how that
Right.
works.
So scripting with GTA, originally you couldn't make any money off of GTA servers at all. Then they made some sort of deal with Rockstar, and then you could start selling scripts. And essentially, like, for Arc, you have a mod that, makes new crafting tables. Cool. In 5M, you would go to a store page like bobscripts.com, and for $5, you could buy the code, aka the mod for your server that allowed people to have a workbench in GTA. And then Bob would have some random jackass buy his script, leak it for free, and then people would rip the code and make their own free version. And like that's just kind of rinse repeat how the 5M cycle is. Like you see it with NoPixel. NoPixel will have really cool scripts that come out when they do their big updates, or like SVRP, the big 5M servers. And then 5 months later, all of these random developers have on their stores the same scripts that they have on these big servers for half the price or even free or leaked on forums. Whether or not Overwolf will allow for people to rip the mods and like leak aspects of that mod for other developers, I guess is a whole nother hypothetical that we don't even need to think about. But the way that like sourcing decent mods from a server owner standpoint, it was not easy. You'd go through hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars to get the best scripts that you could, and some of them wouldn't even be the actual script owner that you're buying it from. And again, with Overwolf and Arc having a verification process, hopefully it won't be as bad.
Mm-hmm.
But for players to experience the best of the best mods, I think a lot of players are gonna have to fork out cash to do it.
Yeah. It'll be interesting how prevalent it becomes specifically in the roleplay community. If you have a lot of those people who made the roleplay mods trying to go into it, it'll definitely change how it works.
I mean, if you just look at the server owner dynamic and the way people are with their mods now, there's no reason to assume that most server owners are likely, or developers are likely going to lock down their best mod work behind a premium option if given the opportunity.
Yeah. It's it's definitely different, interesting stuff, but you know, a lot of this stuff is we'll just have to see. We'll have to jump off that bridge
Yeah.
when we get to it.
And it's a matter of, do you trust Wildcard? I personally do. I have like 15,000 hours in Arc. I'd be an idiot to say, oh, I don't trust Wildcard. Have they made decisions I don't agree with? Of course. Anyone, people could say that about my server hosting.
mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, not everything's going to work for everyone.
Yeah.
Not everything's going to feel great. And initially it's going to suck. And if you give it a chance, it's going to work out. The biggest benefit to everything that we're experiencing is we know we like Arc as a roleplay medium
Mhm.
enough to put in thousands of hours, and moving that medium to a better optimized, better looking, greater opportunity built platform,
Yeah.
it's going to be very hard for them to go wrong. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's kind of where I'm at with that as well. It's like we've already invested so much time in what it is that we have, and so I'm choosing to see it as they're not making us pay for 1.5. What what we're paying for is for 2, and getting early access is what I'm like. That's kind of the way that I'm trying to think about this, because we are going to see a lot of the same things, a lot of the same, the way that it works, the new engine being used, and that part is pretty excited for me. So I'm just kind of thinking of it as that way, is we're
Well,
just going to be getting a taste of Arc 2, which sucks that it's getting pushed, but
And that's was expected, to be fair.
honestly, I don't.
mean,
I will be honest with you, with how drastic of an improvement Unreal 5 is from the 3.5, 4 quasi dev kit they have right now. I don't even think players experiencing modded Arc in the Unreal 5 engine will feel like they need Arc 2 that fast, if I'm honest. The modding capabilities, especially if they add Niagara, which is a 50-50, who knows at the moment, the amount of different capabilities and options that modders that are good
just the
are going to have
possibilities. Yeah.
Unreal 5 is going to blow out any of just even mapping. Like, you think Nekadis's maps right now are amazing? Put that guy on fucking Unreal 5,
have you
forget it.
seen
Oh my god,
that,
I
video?
shared a
and then,
video.
and then sent me.
I shared a
of
video
them-
with like procedural, that they just kind of dragged a mountain, and then it like auto filled everything around the
Yeah,
mountain.
dude.
And
And,
Like,
like,
I'm
puts
like,
a rock
what
in the middle
is
of
this?
riverbed, and the riverbed flows around the rock on its own, like it mixes with the rocky place. It was beautiful. I was like,
So, like,
how the hell?
creative, very capable modders, their mods are going to be above and beyond anything we've already experienced. Average modders are going to be like, whoa, that's a good modder. It's just, if you really think about what the hell we're getting, it's kind of what everyone wanted Arc 2 to be anyways, which was Arc just better looking and better performance.
Yeah, that's exactly what we've all been wanting.
So you throw in a little Atlas water and the option to have prettier particles and better fucking weapon registry and, mob AI, who's complaining?
Yeah, let's be
know-
honest. If we if we were still stuck playing the first arc, and somebody just modded a better character creator, we would have probably played that for another 2 years. Like, if we're being honest, but what you're saying, better system, better graphics, better possibilities for modders, it's still something to be excited about, because this is what we wanted, regardless of what the title is.
Yeah. 1.5 or 2 doesn't really matter. I'm excited for just the way Unreal 5 handles textures. Hopefully we have cloth physics, whether or not we do, who knows. Hopefully we have Niagara for particles, because that's going to make our magic mod potential insane. I genuinely feel like, so I'm going to say this. I don't think that Arc 2 was ever going to come out this year. And I think as soon as Epic Games approached the Arc developers about revamping Arc to move it up to Arc 1.5 on the Unreal 5 engine, that was their focus. So I think we're actually going to get a pretty polished, exciting opportunity in August. I think that's going to be pretty cool.
So the thing that I'm wondering about here is we don't play Arc to play Arc, right?
Right.
How much of this is going to be RP ready for us when it launches?
Probably nothing. But they do speculate and state in their document that they're going to reach out to sponsored modders to
Ahead
get
of
them
time.
to flush with things. So could be a lot, could be nothing.
They
Um,
said that they're reaching out to current/former sponsored modders and prep for the launch with the tools they need to get their mods ready before the launch.
Okay, well, I mean, that's promising.
Yeah, definitely promising. And even if you don't have the fancy deco stuff, we all remember Arc 1 when it launched in June 2015,
Yep.
right? Laggy, rough, fucking exciting. And it was exciting because it was a new engine, it was
Yeah.
a new game, it looked amazing. Even when the dinosaurs were dog ass and the textures couldn't even go over medium without crashing, like
Yep.
playing something a bit nostalgic for a week or two, probably not going to be terrible either.
Right.
And I mean,
Yeah.
if you hate it, yeah, you got Conan, you got
I mean,
all these other new games coming out.
it definitely is like a case of it is what it is because we RP in anything. We were RPing in
Quite
Sons of
literally.
the Forest. There's no
literally.
modding for that. But,
And honestly, taking it back to the roots of just role playing in the world of Ark. Why am I here? Why do I have this weird fucking thing in my arm? It'd be fun.
it could be
Especially if it's not lagging and you get 300 FPS in this beautiful looking world.
fun. Yeah.
You could see what people built really far away because Unreal Engine 5 is stupid. Like, I'm just excited for all of the games coming out in Unreal Engine 5, to be fair.
Oh my god, same.
Like
same.
everything that I'm seeing
Yeah,
that's coming
yeah.
out in that just looks so beautiful.
And like another thing for me is I keep defaulting back to like thinking about how some of our Game of Thrones seasons would be different on this, platform, right? Like not worrying about loading castles or being such a huge deal, like
Oh my,
that
night and
type
day.
of it just excites me so much to think about being able to go up to the Red Keep and not worry about Josh's 15 stories of steps,
For
But,
sure.
Actually being able to build castles.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
And then pair it with Niagara particles, if that's an option, which I'm big on. Pair
they
that with
mentioned
cloth
something.
physics. Pair that
Mhm.
with 4K textures that don't lag. Pair that
Oof.
with new structure mods that are modular and beautiful and made by Joe Help. Like pair that with everything that we might actually get access to. And I say might with a big parentheses, bracket, and quotations around it. There's the potential for us to not even care about Arc 2.
Oh yeah, no, you're
You know?
completely right when you said that it'll make us forget it if it satisfies what we're looking for, and based on the things that we know and the things that we've heard or read, it should. So we'll see.
And I'm talking like, obviously the dev kit will have its limitations, right? They're gonna tweak the engine in their own way. But if they unlock 20% more content than what they had in the original dev kit with what's available with Unreal 5, you're gonna literally see modders that make a whole new fucking game inside Arc.
Mhm.
That the Aramore type of worlds with this whole new dynamic is not going to be a minimum. That's going to be a fairly easy commonplace that developers are going to be able to tap into because the Unreal 5 engine is so much better.
Yeah. And we're
Honestly,
not.
like after talking about it for just a little bit, because I came into this pretty skeptical because it was a quite the difference here for what I was expecting, because nobody knew Arc Survival Ascended was going to be a thing. It was always Arc 2, Arc 2, Arc 2. But thinking about just being able to play Survival Evolved in Unreal 5 is gonna be. I mean, it's one of those things that I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna do this, and now I'm like, I think I'm gonna have to do this.
we're gonna. It's like what Josh said. Like we're going to because of the fact that like we loved this game. We've played this game for so much and for so long, and no matter what, if you improve on that foundation, we're gonna be like, all right, fuck it, I'll give it a chance, no matter what.
Hold on, let me just do a quick call out for everyone. Do you know how many hours you have in Arc 1 Survival Evolved?
Too many.
I'm not on this level of fight as you guys. I probably have maybe like 2,500.
16,000 hours.
I'm very close to 5K. So yeah.
The benefit I have is most of those are paid hours, right? Like I've been a server owner. I've made a lot of income off of hosting this game and playing it. So I can't complain about my hours, because if you think about a 40-hour work week for what now 8 years, that's how many hours is that? I don't even know.
Well, I don't do math on the weekends.
Yeah, it's not the weekend.
It is if I don't work anymore this week.
Oh yeah,
Just kidding.
All right, so 40 hours a week, 52 hours a week. I mean, 52 weeks a year times 8 is 16,640. So I've actually had less work time.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah, that's pretty great. But no, I gotta be honest. I was like what Nixie said. I was a bit skeptical going into it, but there is a lot to be excited about. There's also a lot of things to kind of take with a grain of salt. It's like we'll just keep an eye on you, Wildcard, or whoever it's at the end of that. But
at
we'll
the
see.
end, like right now, my biggest we don't know a lot about Arc 2 yet. And that is something that we don't even know what is going to be different between Arc 2 and Arc Survival Evolved.
We don't know.
We know
shit.
what Arc Survival Ascended is going to be, apparently, because it's just Arc, but better.
Here's the thing you don't know, though. Like, we don't know shit. Anything typed doesn't mean anything. The only way we're going to know what the fuck happens is if on launch day in August, you buy it and you play it.
Yeah. So it's I'm still sitting on that because I wasn't here for the Arc release of, I've heard that was rough, but I was around for the Atlas release and that was rough. So I'll be interested to see if their release goes a little better and then give us some time anyway,
here's another thing that you need to keep in mind. And this is where people don't really give the Arc developers enough credit, in my opinion. If you think about what Jeremy Stiglitz and Jat and all those guys did in 2015, think about the big games in 2015, right? Minecraft. What else? What other huge Days? No, not Daisy. It was like that zombie game that people were playing, 7 Days to Die, and there was that other one that had like
H1Z1.
Yeah, right. That was like the big games. Reign of Kings.
Sure, 3 came out in 2015.
That died.
Yeah,
Unreal was still really premature at that stage. Pretty meh.
Yeah, because then Conan didn't come out till like 2 years after.
And they were a novice company. These guys weren't purchased by Studio Wildcard yet. They were a small team. And they pumped out a game called Arc, which they didn't even change the fucking Unreal.exe that runs shooter game. It's a baseline template. Right? These guys just thought of a cool ass idea. Dinosaurs and survivors and living in this fucking world.
And who would
And then they turned that game into what it is now. And they gave it the opportunity for the modders to turn their game into what it has been for so many role players and unofficial players over the course of 8 years. It's got a TV show coming out. There's fucking Vin Diesel involved.
Oh yeah, that is actually
Yeah, the
something that they
animated
added on
series,
this. Interesting fact about the animated series that I read in this this community crunch is that they are in post-production, but they don't have it placed with a platform yet, which I thought was interesting.
I'm guessing like Amazon Prime.
Well, they say they have it recorded and ready, and like they're editing it. it's in post production, but they haven't been releasing news because they don't have anyone who's
Yeah.
going to be putting it out there yet.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I thought I would think that with how big it's been, like kind of hyped, and the fact that, like you said, they have Vin Diesel being such a big part of it, they might have had a platform, but it was just one of those things that I found curious.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe they're trying to work out a deal. Maybe
They probably
the
have a
deal
couple
fell
different
through.
places. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Especially with something that big, that is, considering the fact it's already done. Like all they have to do is go, "Hey, do you want this? We're just finishing it up." Like,
I mean, anything's possible.
Josh, we talked about on one of the previous episodes, just kind of things that we are looking forward to seeing in games moving forward for role playing, right? Because as time
Sure.
goes on and we play different games, then we have different requirements for things that we enjoy. What is something just kind of speculative that you would like to see, whether it's in 1.5 or Arc 2 in the future? What's something that you've learned to come to need or want for role playing?
Like base game or a mod?
Base game, or at least the introduction or mechanic being there for the possibilities. You know.
I swear to God, if they don't have at the very least cloth physics
That's a big one.
or Niagara, if they don't have Niagara, I'm gonna be disappointed.
what is Niagara?
The
Niagara
particles.
is Unreal's way of handling particles, and if
Oh,
you go to their workshop, you just look at particles, and then you search particles with Niagara, you're gonna see why, and you're gonna understand why there needs to be, hopefully, Niagara available in the new dev kit.
Yeah, no, looking back at some of the assets and stuff that we were looking at, Josh,
Yeah,
thinking about, the magic and stuff like that, that type of like real-time lighting and particle effects is just like, that type of stuff would be so exciting for games and, for modding as well, just the possibilities. Cloth physics are I think cloth physics should be at a very minimum at this point. Like almost every game nowadays has cloth physics.
The worst part is, the engine now has it. They've just disabled it.
Mm-hmm.
Why did they disable it?
Probably lag issues. Who knows?
Wow.
It's more
But then
calculations.
I feel like lag is one of those things that everyone's like, Unreal Engine 5, but doesn't have that. I will be interested to see it in play though, because is there games out right now with Unreal Engine 5? Are people still developing?
There's a ton of games out in Unreal 5 right
I
now.
haven't played any Unreal Engine 5 games.
I think the most recent one that I've seen is that Demonologist game that people are playing, and
Oh, I did see
that
talked about.
that game looks really impressive. Some of the content of it, but that's not, engine specific. But the look of that game, holy crap. It's very impressive, and I can't wait to see a lot more stuff being done in that engine.
I don't feel as bad about asking that question because there's an article in March 22nd saying what games are using that engine so far. So I'm like,
An
okay.
article was written for you,
It's still
Nixie.
pretty new. Yeah, it's pretty new.
Yeah, I think a lot of you just go and see some of the tech, videos and stuff like that with the engine, and you can see just what it's capable of. And even though they're not full games, you just have to look at it and go like, holy shit, this is amazing. Or some of the people that have like remade different scenes and stuff, and like see Skyrim, blah blah blah, and Unreal Engine 5 and that type of
Interestingly,
stuff.
a lot of horror games in Unreal Engine 5.
Yeah, because horror games they're like horror movies. They're so easy to make, and they make money.
Yeah, I'm scrolling through a list right now, like, yeah, horror.
Nixie, since you read the entirety of the document, was there anything else that you wanted to mention?
They do talk a little bit about their Switch game and their mobile game, which I honestly didn't know was a thing. Um,
Yeah, yeah, they got
with
ported. The mobile
they
game
got
was ass.
well, they are revamping the mobile game with a
Hmm.
relaunch of Arc Mobile as a completely revamped project or product as of this thing. It will be graphically improved version of the Switch code base due to increased power generally available on mobile devices. So they are apparently they agreed with that assessment and they decided to
Yeah.
revamp their mobile game. Um, and it looks like the Nintendo Switch game is actually really good. Digital Foundry called it one of the most radical improvements in game quality they've ever seen. So I haven't seen any gameplay of the Switch game. I didn't even know it existed.
Me
But
neither.
they are getting a bunch of the expansion packs in Switch this year
Wow.
up until the end
All
of
that
the
I keep
year.
thinking is
Switch
just
game.
the Pokemon game and like the NPCs glitching in the background and shit like that when I think about the Switch. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, good for them. The way that I see it is the more platforms you can get your game on, the better. You know, make your money and you know, get it out there for people. Not everyone's gonna get a PS5. Not everyone's gonna get a $1,500 PC. You know, just
There was a shout out that I thought was extremely interesting in that it says, "Finally, we are happy to welcome a swath of new players from Japan, Hong Kong, Taiwan, and South Korea."
oh, is that
So
what
they've
is that because
apparently
the
been
game was banned?
it's expanding their player base over there. They specifically called out those 4 places as they're getting an increase in players from. So I thought that
Mm,
was an interesting call out.
Yeah, that is interesting. I
Yeah.
didn't even know that wasn't an option.
Yeah.
yeah.
That was in the Switch section, so I assume that a lot of it must have been from their Switch game that they're
Oh, for
getting
like the
the
Nintendo.
players in.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
One thing that I do want to say, going back to like the question that I asked Josh, I I want them to fully and it doesn't have to be on launch, but to like lean into the VR option because they made it slightly available on Arc and then every time you tried it it just crashed. So like either don't include it at all or make it work because it would be amazing for me to you know I know that VR is still kind of a niche out there but
Yeah.
if I can RP in virtual reality, that would be my dream come true. If I can be in
I
Arc
am
in
just
virtual
my
reality,
character.
yeah, that would be my dream come true. I am a heavy VR player, and
So, but
Go
what
ahead.
you said is exactly why it's probably not going to get any love. If we're talking about a company that right now probably has some fiscal woes going on, which is why they're doing what they're doing, they're not going to pay someone to do that kind of level of dev work
Mhm.
for a very minimal audience.
Yeah, no, and it makes sense, but also with the modding because now there is the injection mod for the you know Unreal Engine where it just kind of makes any game in Unreal Engine VR compatible.
Oh, wow.
And so obviously it won't have like the motion controls and all that stuff that you know VR is known for, but right now we have that being worked on for like uh Hogwarts Legacy and Resident Evil and all these different games. So like I know that the VR modding community can also do it, but I just know that that was something that they tried to do in Arc. In fact, every time if you have a VR headset, every time that you launch Arc, it opens up the Oculus software because the integration of VR is still in the game. It is just kind of and it's kind of annoying. And I tried it once, but you have to like lower all the graphics and play around with it to get it to work.
I bet you'll see, especially because it's a new game coming out, and we've noticed with new games coming out, people want to try it in VR, especially things like what we've already like with Hogwarts Legacy. What's the
Mhm.
first thing they did? Make it VR.
Yeah, and there's VR options of freaking everything now. You can play Spider-Man in VR, you can play God of War in VR, you can do all this other stuff. So it would just
I
be
bet
really
you'll
exciting.
find- it'll be a little while after it comes
Yeah.
out, but I bet eventually you'll get it. Just
Yeah.
because people really want to play games in VR.
we also said that about Hogwarts Legacy, and there was a VR mod 2 days after launch.
It,
So,
it wasn't even 2 days. They were like, we already have it started and it
yeah.
works. Go jump in day of. You're like, what?
But anyway, if I can play in VR in the middle of like Winterfell, that would be exciting.
I mean, who knows? Maybe it'll be there.
That'd be really cool.
But I think that's pretty much it. Josh, do you have anything else that you'd like to cover? What are some of your future plans with Arc? And I know it's kind of hard to tell at the moment since there's a lot of unknowns. But I know that you're working on a mod, or you have been working on some mods with your team. So would you like to give us like any kind of insight?
All right, so our season for Charvel Season 2 goes live April 14th.
Ooh.
We're going to do an Easter event that weekend as well. Big mod stuff planned. We kind of put it on hold. We have a whole structure mod in the background being looked at, and we're getting some sponsors for that as I speak. So for Arc 1.5, we'll have fucking crazy castle mod for sure, I hope.
Hell yeah.
With Gothic architecture, buttresses, that kind of stuff. Like really, really in-depth things that you can do. Because nothing's fitting the void, and I don't think CCAF is going to be updated, if I'm honest. We'll see if Exile Acid comes out of self-imposed exile and actually helps with that or not.
Yeah.
Have a whole new race system. Our magic's getting updated, and we're adding lightning magic to our magic mod. So another element that we don't currently have. Pretty excited about that stuff, I'll be honest. It's our community is definitely slow growing because it's not Westeros anymore. So there's a lot of people that have moved on, which, good for them. And I wish them the best of luck. Hope they're enjoying role playing. But those that have been embracing the Charvel stuff, we had a season last season. It was like 6.5 weeks, no drama, no massive PAs, no issues. It was great.
Yeah,
honestly, great.
That's awesome. And I used to love just tuning in, watching the stream. So it was great stuff.
Yeah. So we definitely got a little bit to figure out. And we have 2 weeks to figure it out, thank God. So it's just get to take my time. I'm pretty excited for this season. That should be interesting. Got a new cave troll coming in. Bunch of new stuff that I'm really looking forward to. Even if it's our last hurrah in the 4 months for this engine, it's been a really good experience for us. And then I'm really, really discussing the idea of dabbling in Conan myself, actually.
Nice.
You guys got your thing going on, but there's this theme that I've been really talking about that I really want to do. And I think, depending on how stuff goes, might make the jump there in between the gap that Arc 1.5 will probably have.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, I've been trying to get you to do Conan.
Yeah. All right. You want to hear the idea?
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. If you want to pitch it.
I know you got something. So I'm a big Magic the Gathering nerd, as you know.
Right.
And there's this really fucking awesome lore. The plane of existence is called Innistrad. That's their world. And you have the human capital of Gavany, the vampire country of Stencia, and then the werewolf country of Kessig. And there's a couple of angels that are involved in protecting the humans, and then there's like big ass monsters in both of the other countries and shit.
Cool.
And they all go to war with each other. So, given what I've experienced on this other server, as you know, I think bringing it down to low medieval instead of high fantasy medieval, and messing around with those 3 races and faith could be a really, really neat dynamic in Conan. But got to wrap my head around it, and obviously we have Charvel Season 2 ahead of us first, so got time to think about it. But if you decide you're looking for another person to work with some Conan stuff, you know how to reach out.
Yeah, no, that sounds exciting. I I am familiar with you loving Magic the Gathering from, my past.
Hell yeah,
PTSD.
dude.
Uh,
I think
But,
as we discussed before about M9's inability to play Magic the Gathering.
I just still have like a twitch sometimes, but other than that,
He's
no, that sounds really cool.
PTSD.
I look forward to seeing that and also including your server, your Conan stuff on our directory, which, guys, if you haven't heard of so far, we have our OOC channel server on Discord, and we have a big directory of servers, whether it's Arc, Conan, and a couple of other things thrown in there for you to check out. So if you want to check out any RP stuff, we have a big directory there,
And we take
including
suggestions for it as well. So if
Yeah.
you have any that aren't on there, let us know and we can get it added.
yeah.
Because now it's time to do all of our plugs. It's the end of the show. So, yeah, we have the Discord. I put the link in there for everybody. We also have a Twitter and a YouTube. If you go into the Discord, there's a link to all of the places you can watch this after the show, as well as on the Twitch. Obviously, you can watch the VODs as well. Yes, there it is, the out of character link tree. But that is, we have the Discord up. It's a slow work in progress as we continue to get things going. Obviously, like he mentioned, we have me and M9 are working on that side project right now that we're focusing on until it opens,
Mhm.
which we're both admins on a Conan server that's coming up. So if you are looking for a place to roleplay, we have a directory. We're continuing to expand that, so let us know. And if you have any suggestions for guests in the future or topics that you want us to go over, we have a channel for that as well. So yeah, come and check us out and join in on all the fun. We talk about all sorts of cool, exciting topics, from last week's forum roleplay topic to
Where
Arc
Nixie got to
and-
nerd out for an entire hour.
I got to nerd out hard for an hour. And then we talk about everything from tabletop to voice RP to forum RP. So
Yeah. So, guys, if you can't catch us live every Wednesday, you can visit the link tree and look for your favorite podcasting platform, whether it's Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, Google, whatever. Find us there. And episodes should be up by Friday on those. So, thank you guys for hanging out. Josh, do you want to plug anything else?
Nah, come check out the season. Starts April 14th.
April 14th.
and his stuff is on the directory.
Yeah.
It's Magic the what am I saying? Magic abilities and all sorts of cool stuff.
Yeah, can't wait to check out some of the streams there. That gets really exciting. Josh streams probably not as often as I would like him to, but he streams pretty often on Circa Skies. So check him out on Twitch. And thank you for hanging out, and we will see you all next time.
Thanks for having me, man.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.